Escape to the action at Seminole Casino Hotel Immokalee. It is Vegas style 24/7 because just like Vegas, Seminole Casino Hotel never closes. It's pure entertainment anytime you want, and it is truly where paradise wins.
From Peterson Family Law, I am so happy to welcome and introduce you to our next guest, attorney Alex Peterson. Good morning.
Good morning.
So we're going to talk about family law this morning, which, as we kind of chatted about, can sometimes be an emotional aspect when families are having to deal with, some crises they're having to go through. But explain what family law is and what your focus is when you are meeting with families. And
family law is dissolution of marriage, paternity actions, which are folks who were never married but have children, sometimes domestic violence actions. Family law is lawsuits that are involving family members. And our focus is on the children that are involved in those proceedings.
How did you get into family law? You have a little bit of a personal story and history with this.
It kind of came to me. It selected me rather than me picking it. I was adopted at 5 by my stepfather. I don't know my biological dad. And my life has been wonderful ever since I was adopted. And when I sit with a single mom and she's going through a difficult time, I can say, it's going to get better. Because I've been there, and it got a lot better, and it just keeps getting better.
What do you think is new in the family realm when it deals with law? I mean, laws are changing every year, almost, all the time. But what's new that you think people need to know and understand? Most
recently, the same-sex marriage laws, which permit now same-sex couples to get married in Florida, Collier counties and Lee counties. And that's going to have an impact on prenuptial agreements, postnuptial agreements, sadly, dissolution of marriage. Folks that now their marriages are going to be recognized in Florida. They were married in, say, New York, same-sex couple. They moved to Florida. They end up getting divorced. They need representation, someone who understands what they're going through.
What do you think the most common mistake that couples and families and people are making when they're trying to navigate through this difficult process?
That's a really tough question. It's tough to say the number one thing. We've actually we interviewed the preeminent psychologists and family therapists in Southwest Florida and prepared a 10 do's and 10 don'ts when you're splitting up with your kids to identify some of the problems and some of the things that happen to kids, kind of second thought, you don't think about what you're doing. To say the number one, maybe people waiting too long. They're in a relationship they know is broken, but because of fear, because of financial concern, because of criticism from their church or community members, they stay in a relationship that's long overdue, needs to be broken and re-heal separate. And that can sometimes cause a bigger problem because they waited too long. Again,
I think it goes to that emotion base. They realize that these decisions they have to make are big decisions, and unfortunately I think maybe they just put it off too long. I love that you put this together. Where can people go to find this kind of do's and don'ts of maybe first navigating?
They can go to petersonfamilylaw.com. It's a free report. We'd love it if all of Southwest Florida would take a look at it, because it can be very helpful. No one comes into my office and says, Alex, I want to make sure this is horrible for my kids. No one's ever said that, but subconsciously they do things that are kind of harmful for their kids.
Talk a little bit about what makes we have about a minute left, what makes your office unique, when you compare to some of the other offices and what they're doing. What I love is you're really using technology to help make this affordable for families.
We strive and pride ourselves on reducing costs for our customers every time. We're constantly improving our service. Our team is excellent. That's a big part of it. Our staff is just wonderful, but we utilize technology to reduce costs with video FAQs, with automatic appointment reminders, with filling out form completion, all kinds of things to try to reduce the time spent with the attorney if they choose to. So if the client wants to spend less time because they have a budget that they need to hit, we're able to facilitate that.
Which I'd imagine is a common issue as well, with family law. As we close here, what's the take home? Again, this is an emotional time for families if they're having to go through this. What do you want them to understand, and certainly about your practice?
I think two things. First, it's going to get better. They have to know that it's going to improve from today, because to find out what's going to happen is better than worrying about what's going to happen. And secondly is to get good advice rather than listening to someone else who can tell you what happened in their situation or with their friends or their colleagues. Speak with someone who knows the law so you can feel confident about what's going to happen. There is help out there, which I think is so comforting and a blessing to know. So, Alex Peterson, thank you so much for joining us this morning, and we, of course, will send people to our website so they can find out more and certainly download this do's and don'ts. So head to our website, foxformorningblend.com.
Up next, on-the-go health must and beauty buys to help you look and feel like your favorite celebrities.